evening. Dude, that looks a bit different, doesn't it? Sadly, Shane couldn't be here tonight, but I'm joined with Lloyd, and the rest of the boys will be on later. Welcome to episode 80. That is right, yeah? It is episode 80, Lloyd. Incredible.
Episode 80, man.
Unbelievable.
Episode 80. How did we get here?
I know, innit, mate? How are you doing, Lloyd? You all right?
Fair play. I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you? Been busy? Had a good week?
Yeah, it's been a little bit more in third gear this week. I think that's fair to say. So we've kind of settled home from that run of dates with the Wild Arts. Gearing up now for the next stage, which is which we've said on the previous couple of CrowCasts, album number 3. Plus we've got a few dates coming up as well. How have you been, mate?
Yeah, all good, man. Just same as you, really. It's just like trying to get our A game in place now, ready for the next record. Doing a bit of writing and just trying to keep on top of the running. That's been my main focus, trying to keep the fitness ready up, fitness level up, ready for November when we're back on the road. But trying to keep the old creative juices flowing as well with the riffs and stuff. So, it's been quite busy in some ways and nice to be home in other ways,
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's a different sense of busy, innit? It's
I mean, like we've had a few meetings and stuff the past week, haven't we? So we've been active in other ways. So
yeah, and you said about the running, mate. How's that going?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, man. I mean, I think I'm a bit addicted to like the trophies you can earn on Strava. Like I done a 5K tonight for the Gatorade Walmart run. So I was like, oh, I gotta do it. So I entered this morning. I've done it this evening. It's only 5K, but I thought I look great in the trophy cabinet on Strava,
Yeah.
So and in November I'm gonna do the virtual New York running one as well. The virtual New York Road Runner 5K. So it just keeps you active with it, So.
Yeah, how do you find your legs and stuff, man? Are you all right with that, or are you needing like a day off or two to kind of recoup, or?
I need time off now. I pushed it a bit too. I've done too much too soon. Since we've been back on tour, but that's just the story of my life, innit? I'm all like, if we're gonna go out on a night out on a Saturday, I'll have a drink on the Friday, and in fact for the Saturday. Do you know what I mean? You know what I'm like. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to a couple of days off now, and then I'll get back on it. But yeah, I feel fit, but
yeah, I was only asking because, like, as you know, me and the boys, we went back to football on Sunday, and Monday morning wasn't pleasant. Even though I feel fitter, I know we were playing like shorter sets during the tour, but they actually did me great. It was like conditioning. So, and because of obviously like the timelines and we were pretty active, considering we were supporting, we were pretty active with the time that we had, whether it be load-ins and stuff like that. So, I did come home feeling a lot better, like, more watered up as well, and which is bad to say, should have been more filled on alcohol. But yeah, I know I think Dave will be on here after. I know me and him have joined the dry club at the moment, so that's been
yeah, me too, man. Dry October, that's the same for me, and Sam's on it as well. So
looking
forward to just having a dry month.
Well, I've tried the old fasting, to be honest, but so a couple of days, I'm a few days in now, and the only problem I'm having is coffee. That's literally the only issue I'm having. I know it's no issue with you. I put it up on Twitter earlier. It's just something that I've kind of found that I love a coffee, milk with 2 sugars. Like, it's
Mate, I'll be honest,
my vibe. So
I quit smoking on this tour. My coffee intake has gone through the roof since quitting smoking. So it's something I think I'd really struggle with as well.
Yeah, it's just that adapting. So a few days of it now, I'm kind of drinking less because it tastes like bog water to me. So it's what I've said to you. Like, if I'm not enjoying something, I can't really get into it. Like, So I just had enough.
If you don't enjoy it.
Well, I've had enough as well. Like, for anybody who's kind of tried the kind of dieting and stuff, is I was more shitting myself because of the you went into the sugar, so because I've cut the sugar out at the moment, the last thing I want is a caffeine add-on as well. So I'm trying not for it to be all at once. So I don't mind having I'm having smaller cups of black coffee just to make sure I've got that caffeine. Because you know what it's like, but I love a coffee, like same as the other boys, tea, coffee.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's
first thing in the morning, coffee, man. That's been my way of life since I was about 15, I think.
Yeah, there it is. We love a coffee so much we even got it available. Like, I love
Look
that.
at it.
Debs has just said now, beanies. Do you know what? I was put onto that by he'll be in the chat room soon, Mr. John Mitch. So I've had a look at that today, Debs, which is a flavored instant coffee. So you can have it obviously black, but they do like vanilla and chocolate and hazelnut and stuff like that. So I will try that because, like I said, I'm in a few weeks, same as the boys, and I'm sure Dave will share that after. It's a nightmare because we're in a beer group as well, and all I'm seeing is beautiful pale ales or IPAs, and I'm just like, oh man. So yeah, November.
It's horrible, isn't it? Isn't it horrible, man? It's horrible. It's just absolutely.
It's good, man. We've got to keep focused. Keep focused.
Such torture.
I know, man.
Especially because we love a pint. There, see, look.
It's honestly,
we love a pint.
Yeah, even the hot sauce. There we go. There's another one. I've obviously got to watch the calories, so I've been having everything quite dry and torture, man. Oh man, it's not a great time. It's not a great time. But I don't urge everybody to do it. Buy the beer, buy the hot sauce, and buy the bloody coffee.
Yeah. Crack on, man.
But yeah,
fill your boots.
So that's kind of kept me busy as well, mate. Just being home and trying to keep active. But yeah, that Monday for me and the boys playing footy was a little bit sore on the old ankles. But speaking of upcoming, it's all right. But speaking of upcoming gigs and we were on about having a drink and stuff like that. Just to remind everybody as well, guys, I had a few messages where we playing next. You can check everything out on www.thosedamncrows.com. But our next show will be in Derby. A few people weirdly saying, are we doing this show? But yes, it was always scheduled and we will be seeing it. So we'll see you at the Hairy Dog in Derby on the 9th of November. And then we go up to Inverness. Yes, it is true. It's the only Scottish date of 2021, which is an amazing festival by the guys at Monster Fest. Really looking forward to catching up with them. Then down into Sheffield. We had a great response there, didn't we, on the tour with the Wild Arts, mate?
Yeah, I mean, it was the first time we played there as well, and it went down a storm, man. It did. I mean,
yeah, man, and a few people picked up tickets after that one, so I don't think there's a great lot left for this one. So definitely get on it. And then for anybody who didn't see the news, we are headlining this year's Planet Rockstock on the Sunday evening. It's an incredible lineup, and we're truly honoured. So that's going to be a special night. I know a few tickets became available the other day, and yet again, I've had a few mates message. The only thing I can suggest is emailing Planet Rockstock, and that's how a few people have got lucky. So yeah, otherwise that is sold out as far as I know, unless you know any different, Lloyd.
No, that's as far as I know as well, dude. And make sure everybody got their pints ready for me because that's my birthday.
Yeah, and before we welcome on our incredible guest tonight, Kris, we've got a few guests to announce over the next couple of weeks, which we're really excited about. So keep an eye on the socials for them. But we can spoil in a few weeks. Everybody's been asking about a Halloween special they enjoyed last year. We are making plans for a Halloween special. We will do something fun. And also what we can leak tonight, which is available now, we have our own Halloween merch. This was brilliant when it came through. Absolutely feed myself over this. This is available now, guys, to pre-order. Incredible idea. And everyone knows what I was like last Halloween. It's probably not going to be any different. I don't do it great. I'm more Pixar. Boys love Halloween, so we've got a t-shirt to commemorate it. It's almost very Monster Squad to me. I love it. Like,
yeah, it is. It is. It's look at me lurking in the background there. It looks a bit odd, doesn't it? A shiner, look.
Aye. Shine of the
Shine of
Mummy,
the
were
Mummy.
they? I thought that was brilliant. That absolutely cracked me up. And yeah, there's a few people asking, no clowns. Yeah, absolutely no clowns. Sorry, Emma.
There is a clown there, actually. There's back left, look. Dave. He's a clown.
Dude, he be on now, boy. He be on to say I like.
I'm
So yeah, they're now available to order. It's
Be
in the
filling me in now.
comments. What's up, bud?
He'll be on me to fill me in now.
Yeah. So yeah, now available on our merch store. The link is in the comments, or click www.thosedamncrows.com and that will take you to our merch store and everything we got ongoing at the moment. Gigs, just everything. It's all in one place. So yeah, that's now available. And we'll have a Halloween special on episode 81, 82. I think it's episode 83. That'll be. That will be our Halloween special.
Here we go.
Should we have a guest, mate?
Yeah, come on, let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Let's have a guest. Ladies and gentlemen, Crow family, welcome the guitar maestro himself, Mr. Kris Coombs-Roberts.
How's it going, guys?
Hey, how you doing, Kris?
How are you, buddy?
Yeah, not too bad. All good, man. Kind of enjoying that T-shirt there.
Yes, wicked, isn't it, dude? It's
yeah.
Obviously, they were on about it in the camp, and when we started CrowCast, we started doing like random episodes. Like obviously, some of them fell around Halloween, etc. And last year we had I don't know if you know him, Richard Oakes and Adam Leader. They're brilliant. Work for a company called Dark Fable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, they had their own like horror film out, which absolutely shit me up. Yeah, it did, man. Honestly, I don't do horror very well. So we played like the trailer and that, and then we did games with everybody in the chat room, like Trick or Treat, and yeah, it was great for some people. For me, I was fucking bag of sweat by the time I left. Dude, like, you know.
Yeah, I'm not good with Halloween, dude. I'm more Pixar than anything else.
Totally, man. Honestly, although last year I did embrace it for the first time. It wasn't a great experience, but it was. like I said, I watched a few horror films with the family. Kids are old enough now to watch them as well. So it was we were watching them, and it was like fuck. I was screaming the house down, which made it a great watch for them. And then yeah, before I went to bed, everybody was like, "Oh, right, tired now." They'd sweet it up and everything. Wicked, off they went. And the first thing I did was put fucking Toy Story on or something like. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Nice bedtime story. Brilliant.
Oh man. So where you at the moment, Kris?
I'm at home. I'm in southeast London.
Tidy, mate. Tidy.
Yeah. Been here for the last 15 years, I think. So
has it been that long?
Yeah. It was only meant to move here for a year. 1 year, and decade and a half later, I'm still here.
Christ, how'd you find the move?
I don't know. It was so long ago, man.
You've just completely adapted now. You don't miss home, or?
Oh, I miss home, definitely. I think particularly over like the last kind of 18 months, it's been obviously things have been really difficult, haven't they? So kind of being away from like all my family, from kind of all my mates and everything, it's sort of it's probably the only time that I've been up here that I've actually felt like London is far away.
Yeah.
So, but generally speaking, it's kind of I love being here. I love living in London. It's it's busy, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, loads of people have asked me would I love to move to London and stuff. I've always found since we were kids, man, and we'll get into that. Like we've always visited London, whether it be playing in bands, but never been somewhere that appeals to me. And it's only taken lockdown for me to realize how much I appreciate where I live as well, if that makes sense. It was like, it was a time for everybody to see what was around them. And we were really fortunate, bro. As you know, like I'm surrounded by like mountains and bloody the ocean's only like a 15-minute drive. And I only really recognized that because if you put it up on a social, I almost had to kind of lay back on the post. I felt, fuck, this could be like upsetting somebody, if that makes sense. Because especially if they're more isolated and there's not a lot around them, like, so I was quite conscious on that.
Yeah, man, it's it's a weird one because it's like obviously being within kind of where I live in London, it's very, very urban, very kind of like it's the suburbs, but it's still very built up. But we've got like we're quite lucky because there's a lot of like green open parks near us. I'm near Crystal Palace. I literally live opposite the park, so it's kind of for me. I've had some green areas that I can escape to. Not quite like the valleys and the rivers that I grew up around, but
yeah. Yeah, were you busy on the old guitar, or did you find anything else to keep yourself busy? Or
well, I just had a kid, man. So yeah, it was my boy was like I think he was 2 months old when lockdown happened. So yeah, he kept me busy. Definitely, it was that thing of people always say that when you become a parent, expect your life to change. I didn't expect the world to change as well, but yeah, it was that definitely took my mind off things for pretty much for as long as he's been here. So.
Oh man, how you loving it? Yeah, loving the
oh man.
sleep. Are you having sleepless nights, or does he sleep well? Or
yeah, on and off, I'd say. He's pretty good, but he's amazing. The best thing literally best thing ever to happen to me.
Oh, that's amazing, bro. That's absolutely amazing. Like you said, it's a bizarre time,
incredible,
but
man.
Probably beautiful as well, because like I know other people who've had babies during this mad period, but they got more time to spend together and more time to kind of have that bond, like because some families are not as lucky, they don't get that, like whether one person has to leave or both in some cases, like
Yeah, man, totally. I had my paternity leave, and we went into lockdown, and I had like 3 months with him. So it was like pretty much the first 3 months of his life I got to spend every day with him, which most parents don't get to do, right?
Completely. I mean, when I was a dad first time around, I think I had like a week off. There was none of this, and I think that was like, I don't even think it was because it's dads get the parental rights now, don't they? As in, like you get paternity leave, don't you?
Yeah.
But I don't think it was around then. Like I think it was more you take off a few weeks because, like, you especially where we're from, and I don't mind saying it. It'd be, well, you taking that amount of time off, you know what I mean? A bloody woman's job, that is, man. Great, man. So yeah, it's obviously evolved from that now, like but the old school.
Have a fortnight off, back to work.
Yeah, any more than that, it's like your foreman or anybody you work with, especially old school workers, be like, Jesus Christ, man! Hey, give it a couple of weeks, and he'd be ready to work himself.
You ain't got a job left.
Oh man!
Oh, that's good though, man. That's amazing. You've got to spend all that time. That's
yeah, but
but
the other side, I did. Yeah, I guess like to answer the question, I did get to play guitar a lot more, which is great. It's kind of it's probably been the first point since I guess like Funeral stopped being a band that I actually had like time where I could actually just go into a room, sit down, pick up a guitar and play, which was amazing because it's the first time that I've done it without having to think about writing for Funeral, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like it was the first time to pick up my guitar in pretty much like the best part of 5 years, I guess, and it'd be just about enjoying playing, not trying to write to do anything with the idea of it turning into something for the band or for anything else. So I kind of found my love of playing guitar, I guess, again.
That's amazing to hear that. There's been a few people who've said the same as that, bro, because especially how long, I mean, it's going to be 20 years just for Funeral for a Friend, which you're going to be celebrating the anniversary soon, which is, that's incredible. When we heard that number, it's just like, wow,
20 years, man, 20 years.
Yeah, mate, I'm 40, which is like it's half my life. That's crazy. Utterly crazy to think.
It's unreal because I know it's like it's your life and it's your journey, because we always say that with the band, but when you're a fan of the band or if you've been around the bands, you kind of, even when we hear that number, we're like, what? 20 years, because it genuinely, which, you know, we'll probably build up to that now. It literally does feel like yesterday, or some of the key points, or the, you know, the Kerrang moments, which you'll probably take us on that journey. It's incredible of like how much has happened, but yet again, they only seem not so long ago. Like, you know, it's mad. Like,
yeah, totally. I think there's definitely elements of things where it's, when I think about it, it feels like it happened seconds ago. But then there's like another side to it where it's obviously, it's like, if I think of everything which has happened in between, it's definitely been 20 years.
unreal, dude. And we'll get to what you've been up to lately, because that's been immense. I've just seen some of the videos and photos online. But how did it start for you, Kris? Because like everyone's got their own story and their own journey. How did you start playing guitar, dude?
I kind of, well, I've got an elder brother, Lee. I think you know my brother Lee, actually. Yeah, he gets called Bal. He's been tattooed in the studio a lot. And, yeah. So kind of when I was I guess when I was kind of probably around like 7 or 8, so quite, you know, at that point we start getting influenced around like the things which are happening around you and things that you hear. He was like massively into like Guns N' Roses, Black Sabbath, kind of into rock music, and he'd always come in and put music on. So I think like kind of my first introduction was through hearing like the music that my eldest brother listened to. There's 14 years between us as well. So I think that kind of without him, I probably wouldn't have been that interested in music. It's just that, you know, he had a mullet as well, my brother, so he looked cool as hell, you know, in the 80s. Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. Like he had a proper mullet. You know, rode a motorcycle. He was all in, dude. So, yeah, and then I guess that you go to school, and sort of in school you meet kind of people who are into the same things as you. I can remember kind of getting to the point of like begging my dad to basically buy me a guitar, being like, you know, I really want to learn. Can I have a guitar? And him saying no, because I don't blame him, in all fairness. I wanted to do karate. I did it till I got a gi. As soon as I had a gi and I looked cool, that was it. I had the costume, didn't want to do it anymore. So pretty much everything I'd been into, I'd lost interest in it very quickly. So it probably took me for, I think it was about 2 years. It was like from 9 till I was about 11, just begging him to buy me a guitar, and he eventually did. And then I've got another brother, Kerry, who again has been tattooed at the studio. And he's quite competitive. So when I started learning and he started learning, it was a thing of trying to outdo each other all the time. So it's kind of, yeah, my siblings, I think, my brothers, the two people who pretty much got me into music.
I love that. That's great. I didn't know that as well, because I've spoken to your brothers loads. And I especially didn't know that he had a mullet going on, so I'm gonna have to see a picture of that, man. Jesus.
Yeah, he apparently had a very, 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 very bad highlighting job, which looked like he had a Davy Crockett hat on at one point.
No way. This is incredible. Tell us more.
Yeah, I'll stop there.
So was that what age was that around? Sorry, Kris.
It probably it would have been from, I started playing at 11, so I was 11 when I got my first guitar. But I can remember like really getting into like Guns N' Roses and sort of listening to Black Sabbath probably from like, I'd probably say 7, like with probably my earliest memories.
That's really cool. That's really cool. And that progressed into school then, obviously, was it, when you were like jamming as we all did, when you start meeting fellow like musos like?
Yeah, definitely. It's like, well, I can remember my first concert was a School I Steddfod. It's like, yeah, I think I played Basket Case by Green Day. I think it was with no drummer, mind, because there was no drummers in my school, because drums are expensive, right? And if you're going back to the 90s, that's like, you know, it's not something you're giving your kid. Yeah. So yeah, but the same thing, kind of like meeting friends in school, kind of getting into it's kind of those gateway bands. So it's like it was Guns N' Roses, Nirvana, Green Day, and then kind of Metallica, and then that went to Pantera, Slayer, Morbid Angel, you know, kind of it just kind of, you go down the rabbit hole at that point, you know, and it's the more extreme the better when you're a teenager. So yeah, but definitely it was like all the people that kind of I kind of had a friend, Jason Bromfield, and kind of he played piano but played guitar, really good player, and kind of had the ability to figure things out by ear. So just spent like a lot of time when I was younger kind of like playing with him, and he'd learn Slayer songs and show me Slayer songs. And then kind of obviously the big one, I think, would be the point that I went to college and kind of started going to the jam nights in Bridgend. And I think that was the kind of, I think pretty much every band from Bridgend comes from those nights of the Welcome.
We always talk about them, dude. I mean, the original ones, did you manage to go to like Trumps?
Yeah, dude. I never played, but I was there.
Yeah. See, so if I say that to certain people, they're like, oh, I must have missed that one. That's like, that was the original kind of like bedding of the jam night. Like, do you know what I mean? Was a place, anybody who knows it in the Bridgend area or have been, a place called Trumps. And then obviously that went on to the Welcome, like you said, bro. And then we've seen so many bands through there with your Jeff Giljohns who went on to be Bullets and Mongrels, and it's incredible. And the circuit of mates, you know, that's how I would have seen you. That's how I would have seen other people, whether you knew them or even had a 20-minute conversation, you might have jammed with them once, or, you know, it's such a great scene at that time. Like,
yeah, it's just I think it was quite, sorry, throwing my wire around, sorry. Yeah, I think it was, we were quite lucky. I think that kind of at the time, it was such a creative area. And it's like, it kind of, I don't want to say it in the sense of put in the like Wales down or where I'm from down, but there's definitely an element of, you could either do music or you could play rugby or you did drugs, you know?
Yeah.
And it's kind of, it's like they were your options, and it sort of, to me, it kind of feels like the entire music scene sort of was a bit of a kind of a home away from home from kind of everything that I personally loved, everything that I was interested in, the community, which was very kind of embracing. And, you know, we had adults with people like Phil who were very encouraging to try and kind of, you know, push you with the things that you liked and saying, oh, you know, you're good at this, keep doing it.
Yeah, well, look, the bastard talked me into, when we did the Welcome Jam, he was like, all right, love. He goes, you wouldn't bring your kit, would you? I was like, oh, I don't know, Phil. Oh, come on, love. I'll give you a couple of quid. And like back then as well, you're like, fucking hell, that's not bad. Then I'll get a couple of quid. Until I remember a band called Spurious. And their drummer used to get up. I can't remember the cover. I'm pretty sure it was Sepultura or something. I can't remember. It was just fucking something ferocious. And he used to get up and stand up, Lloyd, and he'd basically like, he'd batter my toms, like, right? And that happened once, and then on the second jam night,
as well, isn't it?
Up they get this band, and they're fucking incredible musicians, absolutely incredible ace musicians. Up they get again, and it gets to that part of the song, and up the drummer gets, and I just remember running to the end going, fucking sit down. Sit down. Because I was just like petrified, because like, you know, like you said, drum kits are expensive, or even fucking skins back then. Like, if you're not paying for them, which I was paying for them, it was like, Jesus Christ, like, you know, and I just watched him pitting my bloody toms, like, you know, but yet again, now I look back, I think, wow, they're amazing memories, and everyone thought they were playing to Wembley, like, do you know what I mean? If you got a good response there, it was just like, this is vibe, like, it's a real cool vibe.
Yeah, it definitely give you the confidence to kind of like push on, and sort of, it was the competition aspect as well, trying to kind of outdo everybody who would be playing. It's like there was that thing of like, whatever we do this week, it's got to be more complicated.
Yeah. I definitely agree there. I remember some bands, including myself, would turn up and it'd be very chord-esque, or, you know, melodies, and you'd think, you know, all right, cool, banging a few harmonies, brilliant, and then all of a sudden somebody turn up and start shredding, And then from a drumming, I don't know what it was for the guitaring, but I just remember those more technical drummers started kicking in then with, fuck, he's got 2 feet going now. It's like, shit. And honestly, Lloyd, it became like, it was wicked. It was
a game beer.
Yeah, but it was good. Like Kris said, it was really good times because it was a healthy growth. It was everybody supported everybody as well, because those gigs kind of they kind of moved on to your, whether it be your football clubs, a toll house, and like a scene started happening. And I've said this to like Jamie and other people on this CrowCast of how they would come into Bridgend then. So people came from further to become part of that scene, like, you know, the which was a beautiful sight, man. I don't know if you seen the same or you met people then. Is that how you started kind of more segue into your funeral for a friend, or?
Kind of. It's I think that like the funeral thing pretty much kind of when I went to Neath College, so kind of it's because weirdly I went to Neath, I didn't go to Bridgend, but Ollie, who went to Neath, was obviously from Bridgend, so knew about the jam night. So kind of through him, we ended up going to the jam nights. I then ended up meeting Mike Davis, you know, and kind of forming my first band.
Mike.
And then weirdly, I ended up meeting Johnny Phillips. And it was kind of like through the breakup of, I think, of Mongrel, the breakup of my band, it was that Johnny started talking about wanting to do kind of, you know, something else, wanted to do a band, and he had like very kind of like grand ideas of everything, because like Johnny's a very ambitious person, you know. And yeah, it was kind of, I remember meeting him, talking about stuff, and originally he was going to play guitar, and then somehow, I don't know, we ended up back on drums. I ended up with Andy, who I knew from going to shows at TJ's in Newport, and kind of all of a sudden it was like funeral kind of came about through just kind of, I guess it's like you meet people who have acquaintances who they're like, oh, they can do that, and then suddenly it's like I was in a band called January Thirst, and we had totally different funeral, like kind of more along the lines of Dillinger, way more kind of extreme in the idea of what the band was going to be. And then Mike left, but obviously Mevs, or Matthew Evans, was in the band, and he was really good friends with Matt. Now, I knew Matt, I'd seen him loads. He was this guy who sold CDs out of a briefcase at shows, you know. It's kind of always very quiet. I knew he ran a record store, or he's opening a record store in my stake, and like, you know, Mev said that he was going to bring him along, like, you know, have him try out to be our second vocalist, and I expected him to come in and start like shouting his head off like what Mike did, and like kind of, you know, everything that we were kind of building towards. And he came in and started singing, and I can remember just being like, the first time I heard him sing was just, it completely changed my idea about what we could do.
Right.
Because it's like, you know, it's really weird because it seems like Wales now is abundant with like really, really good vocalists.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but I can remember back in the day, it was almost as if like people were way too scared to even attempt singing. And I can remember hearing him and just being like, oh, wow, this is an opportunity to do something that, you know, I didn't know there was anybody in my local area who was capable of doing what Matt is doing. Yeah, and he came and we pretty much like wrote 1045 on our first ever kind of band practice.
Wow.
Yeah, and yeah, I remember kind of we had this thing where we had to go out to the room to have a conversation, like leave him in the church hall. And it was like, right, we're all going to have a chat now to see if he's going to join the band. And we walked out the room, and I was just like, obviously he's joining the fucking band. It's like,
why are we even having this conversation?
Why have we walked? Why have we left? Why have we left him on his own? There's no point, you know.
I love that. Or that's typical of when we were younger, when they like, you know, of serious band chats, or where you want to take the band or playing gig, or it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, this is a business, so you've got to take it serious. We're taking it serious. We're going to talk about you when you're not here. You know, that's how serious we are. We got to go outside to agree on you joining the band,
Yeah.
which we've all agreed on by smiling in the room with you.
I tell you what it was, bro. We all grew up on Goonies, man. So you had to all form a pack. You had to form a pack. You had to do the quiet voice, which weren't really a fucking quiet voice, like, you know, and then go back in and go, yeah, you're in, like, you know, and
if you want it,
not sell it, like, you know.
Don't mess this up, though. This is your chance. You're lucky to be here, right?
My neck's on the line for this.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
We don't need you. You got loads of other people wanting to be here.
Oh, mate.
Brilliant.
Obviously, that's how you kind of segued into funeral. I mean, I said it to Ryan when he was on. My first encounter with you boys as a band was Darren being a DJ in the Malsters. And the next thing you know, I remember him saying, yeah, man, that's cool. I did a gig. And he was like, oh, you'll have to come and play a gig with us, as we all used to do if you've seen any band. Come and play a gig. Next thing you know, bang, you fucking signed. You're in Tesco. I remember doing my fucking shopping, and I don't mean like bumping into you. Your CD is there in Tesco, like, which would have been around the time where you would have got into them as well. Is that right, Lloyd? Or Lloyd?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, would that have been around the time, around 2003, 2004, when you got into the boys as well?
Say that again, buddy. My internet jittered a bit then. Say that again.
Oh, sorry. Would that have been around the time where you got into the boys as well? I said, basically, like Chris said, how they segued into funeral. I said, give or take a bit of time. And I know, like, obviously a tweak with the members and Ryan joining and stuff. I said, I remember bumping into Darren and saying about doing gigs together. And the next thing you know, I see their CD in Tesco's because they just fucking blew up. It all just happened, like, you know.
So that would have been around Casually Dressed.
Yes.
2003, 2004. Yeah, I mean that was when that was my time of getting into like your emo and funeral, or one of them bands where wherever you looked, everybody was wearing a funeral hoodie, man. Everyone in Bridgend, you go to a rec gig on a Friday, everyone was in funeral clothes, man. It was you were the band, like, you know. It was great. You were from Bridgend, Wales.
It's mental because I remember doing the EPs because I remember my brother left the band just before we went in to do the first EP, and then obviously Darren joined the band, and for me that was like I've always had a good thing with writing with Darren where we're totally different players. So we're kind of like yin and yang, and he kind of somehow manages to find space in all of the cluttered ideas that I kind of throw at him.
Yeah,
but
right.
Yeah, but it's but I can remember kind of it. You know, we originally went in just to do a demo, and it was like the idea was that we had terrible gear, we were rehearsing in church hall, couldn't hear anything at all, and then we actually kind of went into the studio and recorded, and suddenly that got released, and it literally snowballed so quickly. Yeah, it was like I can remember being in bands and trying to do things and things never working and never being able to get shows, and then all of a sudden it was just like having so much opportunity that we're having to say no to things, which is unreal. But then obviously the Casually, as soon as we kind of got to I can remember doing recording Casually Dressed. I remember when we were writing for it, and I can remember thinking that, like, you know, everything we were doing was like, it had been so promising, it had been so good, and I was like, you know, if this album doesn't do anything, then I've still had the most amazing time kind of with like getting to this point. And then it got released, and everything just seemed to go mental. It was like I can remember kind of having a meeting with our management and kind of like basically talking about, you know, the plans for the band, and it was like suddenly it was like the next 2 years of my life were just like completely mapped out. It was like, this is what you're going to be doing, this is where you're going to be, and I can remember being like quite terrified by it all.
That's cool, that is, to hear that, because a lot of people are like, you'd think, be amazed, but it is a scary, I've had a close dear friends, the same as yourself, have said the same thing. When you do realize it's 2 years, especially back then as well, because it was a different industry as well. So you were what I call like the proper old school circuit of you did an album. It wasn't so throwaway. Like, that's no disrespect to any fans now, but everything moves a lot quicker now.
Media. There was no social media back then. I think MySpace was in its infancy, wasn't it?
Yeah, totally. And I can remember it's like there was that thing of, going out supporting bands, and it just seemed to be like, the first kind of couple of shows that we do, we'd go out and we do like a run of like, we do, 4 dates with someone. And then I can remember the first like proper tour we did with Phony.
Yeah.
Remember the band Phony?
Yeah.
And like that was amazing, because I think that run was about 3.5 weeks. I think I went all over the UK.
Right.
It was like the first time that I'd been to Scotland. I'd been kind of pretty much the first time I'd been to most of the places in the UK. But yeah, it's definitely kind of, there was this thing of things felt quite like they could grow quite organically still. You play with bands, their fans would like you then kind of go out, you play with other bands, you get more fans, and eventually you do your own shows. Where now it all feels a little bit kind of, I don't know, it feels so different to that. It's almost like there's a thing of, I keep saying this like to people about guitarists, because I work in a guitar shop. What I do now day to day, I sell guitars. And, the whole idea of buying a guitar when I was younger was that you wanted to be in a band, and you wanted to write music, and you wanted to tour, and you wanted to kind of write records, and, you wanted to have that experience. Where now it's like you buy a guitar because you want like 2 million followers on Instagram.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And it's like, it's such a different thing. It's sorry, digressing there, sorry.
No, but it's a fair point, man, because I think it's such a different era now, man. You've just hit the nail on the head, because we've talked about that in our band. You can only refer it back to yourself and your band, but why are you doing this? Do you know what I mean? It's that question. Why am I wanting to go around the world or spend less time with the people you love? And it's going back that root moment. So that's incredible advice, man. It's, why did you fall in love with a guitar? It was, you wanted to be in a band, you wanted to create something, and you wanted to go and play that music to people, that connection
to the world.
But you are right. It's become now because I want to be famous, or I want to have 2 million followers, or there's no thought of the connection,
But there's also that thing where there's nothing wrong with that, because there's a thing of wanting to be so proficient at what you do that you're in the elite of what you do.
Yes.
It's just, to me, it seems like I think it was Matthias Sasato recently shut all his social media pages down, right? And he was probably one of the most followed guitarists on Instagram. And he was saying that the reason he did it is that he just moved so far away from what he had initially set out wanting to do while, with playing guitar. But yeah, it's such a strange thing. It's kind of, I think at the end, for me, I think it's that aspect of how everything's so much easier to do now. You can record very good sounding songs in your bedroom. You don't have to know a drummer to get good drums. There are kind of programs you can buy. There are things you can sit down. Yeah, and it's you can write the song without anybody else's kind of influence on it. Where I think the kind of the whole beauty of the period of time that we were talking about is that everything that you did, you have to share with someone, because you have to rely on somebody else to be able to do, that other musical kind of, to have musical input in order to make your a song.
Yeah. It's that connection, that bounce off, that vibe.
I mean,
it's like when people,
it's an energy, isn't it? You in a room with someone, and it's a creativeness. It's a relationship.
Yeah, man, totally. There's definitely
when we weren't jamming, innit, Chris? It'd be the case of when you're not a jam night, you'd be watching bands.
Yeah,
You were
totally.
like, you were living it constantly back then. So it was almost like indulging in everything that was brilliant and leveling you up constantly, because you'd watch a guitarist or you'd watch a drummer or a bass player, and you'd always want to, like you said, you'd always want to raise that bar. Oh, have you seen such and such from that band? Fucking hell, they've got a wicked guitarist now, or they've got a wicked drummer, or oh man, they did a brilliant set the other day. So there'd always be something pushing you. So I do see what you mean, where you can create all this incredible fucking, you know, an album's worth of unreal material from a drummer you've never met because he's programmed. And
obedient, though, really obedient. Does exactly what you want.
Bastards.
Yeah.
And it's not, I tell you what, it's not great for some people's psyche as well, because I used to listen to some of the programmed drums and you'd be like, fuck, that's ferocious, or that's, oh wow, and you'd forget that some drummers actually make them so hard to play that you know you have to be at that elite level to, but there's still not the feel or the swing that you might get in a room jamming together, like, you know.
Yeah, totally. I think there's definitely that aspect, that thing of being in a band where, like, I know you guys have it. It's like the first time you hear something that you've created back, and you're the only people in the world that have heard it. You know, that's like, for me, that was the best thing about being in a band, was like whenever we wrote the song, I can remember like kind of the only way to be able to hear it was for us to be together to play it.
Yeah.
You know, and like that, I just remember kind of like, you know, certain songs I remember like doing Roses for the Dead, and I can remember kind of coming out of the rehearsal rooms in the old music box, which was in I think it was in Splot, is it not Splot?
Yeah,
Canton, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I can remember leaving the rehearsal space and just being like, I really want to hear it again, but I have to be with the rest of the boys in the band to hear it, because it's like, it's not something we've recorded, and it's like, there's something special about that, I think.
Yeah, not 15,000 groups going on every application at the moment. You'd have to pick up the phone and, do you want to jam? and
everybody remember their part.
And that getting together, like you said, that's so crucial, because it wasn't so accessible. Like, you know, where now we write something, and same for you. You can ping it over from London, or you can ping it to anybody else in a different country and pick off where you've left off, like, you know, and add your thing to that, like, you know, and the next thing you know, it's still cool. I mean, I admire a lot of bands who do that, and especially when they're spread out so far. But you still, you know, if you've grown up like we have, and a lot of musos we speak to, you still can't beat that in the room vibe, like, because it only takes one person to say, oh, why don't you go there instead of there? And then that one change, that one moment, everybody's fucking beaming and going, oh, that's the one, like, you know.
Yeah, totally, absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely, I think the that aspect of kind of, you know, it's direct conversation when you do something and somebody doesn't like it as well, and it's like they're not careful about how they kind of put their words, because it's reactive. The thing is, you've done something, and particularly if it's something which somebody feels very passionate about, and you've done something they dislike to something they care about, it's like such a reactive, just instantaneous kind of response. It's just like, no, that's shit, don't do that. You know, over kind of email, that can be a little bit more like, oh, you know, yeah, kind of like where you're going, but maybe try a bit harder, kind of thing. You know, the arguments are quite good, I think.
Yeah, I love them. If anything, I actually find the new world with the texting fucking worse, because I can really misread a text, and I'm like,
there's no emotion to words in terms of text.
Well, the emotion is your mood, but it's your mood, right? It's how you feel at the time. If you're pissed off, you could read like the most well-meaning text on earth, and it sounds confrontational.
Yeah,
exactly.
What's his fucking
cause
problem?
Many of arguments, which don't actually need to happen.
That's incredible. I mean, up until 216, mate, the amount of moments that's happened to yourself and the boys, obviously before you got back together in 219, it's unreal. Like I said earlier, front page of Kerrang, I don't know how many times, which is, yet again, if we go back to the comp, that's like the dream to be on the front of a mag. Supporting some of the biggest bands ever in history, so if you put that down, to sell as many records as you boys have done and tour globally is phenomenal. Do you, when you were sitting there between the 216 and 219, did that sink in finally when the roller coaster kind of stopped for a little bit, or did it hit you before that? Or
no, I think kind of I don't know, it's a weird one because I think that for what we did with Funeral, we were very much a bubble. There's kind of like, you're constantly traveling, you have the same people who are going out with you. It's kind of like there's a family kind of around you.
Yeah, man.
So no matter how kind of like absurd the experience seemed to be, like for where we were from, and the fact that like we were playing with Iron Maiden, do you know what I mean? It's like somehow it seemed totally normal because of we had the same group of people around us all the time.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I kind of feel that like at the point that I think that when the band split up, the only thing I can remember thinking was that like the day after was we did the last show, and it was at the Forum, and it was such a high. All my family had come down for it, and then I can remember waking up the next day, and it was the first point in like 16 years I'd been unemployed. And it was like, and I think the kind of I remember kind of coming home after it and sort of like sitting down in my flat at the time and just being like, wow, it was almost like breaking up with someone, or disassociating myself with kind of such a big part of what people kind of, I guess, what they link to me, to loads of people. If they say, oh, do you know Kris? They'll say, do you know Kris Funeral or Kris Faff? And kind of suddenly Funeral don't exist anymore. And I can remember kind of just being like, I feel a bit weird. And I can remember going to the pub. I sat in my local and I had a pint. And I can remember having this moment where I thought about everything the band had done. And I was just like, I can't believe that I've done that. It was like a really overwhelming kind of like thinking back to things like, first of all, playing with like Boys That's Fire, who were a band who I absolutely adored when I was younger. Then obviously playing with Maiden, who are like one of my biggest influences as a guitarist, to like traveling the world. I pretty much I'd been on a plane once before, like kind of, Funeral became a band, and then the second flight I ever did was going to tour the US. I flew to New York, and that tour that we
amazing, isn't it?
But that tour that we did as well was like, the lineup was incredible. It was From Autumn to Ashes, Cave In, Every Time I Die, and Us, and it was just like that, bands that I loved at the time. And I can remember just like, almost like pinching myself that like the fact that at the time while I was doing it, it was like, I don't know. I think I appreciated everything more when it stopped, because of the fact that I didn't have to worry about it stopping anymore. There's always this point where you're doing something that you're always worried about it ending, and you're always thinking, right, well, I'm not going to think about it too much because it could all stop tomorrow. And then the point that it's all over, you actually sit down and you look at it, and it was like, it was incredible what we've done. Absolutely incredible. I'm probably, so lucky. I feel like I've lived about 10 lifetimes from being in that band.
Yeah, I mean, it's immense. I mean, even just some of the accolades I just mentioned, it doesn't even scratch the surface of the awards you won. To, like you said, from bands that you admired of that time as well, and your favorite bands, to bands which generations have admired for years. Like, that's why I always wanted to know that, when it's kind of like you're on that break, or right, you know, we're gonna step away from this at the moment. Because I know what it's like being in a band, and I know what other bands have said. You're always looking what's next, or like you said, you're in that 2-year schedule, right? And then you're out of that 2-year schedule, and you're on the next record, another 2 years, and all of a sudden, bang, 10 years are gone, bang, 12 years are gone, you know what I mean? And it's appreciating those moments as well, if that makes sense. And you boys had it so impactful, or from a viewer, I don't know how you think, Lloyd, but it definitely came across that way to us as like music lovers, because you'd buy the record, then you'd see that you're on this tour. Oh wow, the boys are going out to Australia. Oh wow, the boys are, oh Christ, they're in Reading. Oh shit, now they're in Download. Oh wow, now they're doing this, now they're doing that. And time is flying, but for you it's just constant fucking wow news, you know what I mean? Or your job as it is, like, you know?
Yeah, it's a weird one. I can remember kind of like, as I was saying, when we'd sit down, we'd have these meetings, and like you'd have like the plan laid out in front of you, and then you'd have a couple of weeks which were like, all right, we got a bit of time off there, and then kind of as that time came round, that time wasn't time off anymore. You were doing something else.
Yeah,
and I can remember just like everything being like, particularly when we started, just everything being so exciting.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of, there's no pressure, is there? Like when you haven't done anything, there's nothing to live up to. And then I can remember after the first album, everything started to feel like, you know, it's all a lot more serious than it was before.
This is real, like.
Yeah.
Was there any moments you look back and or at the time where there was like guitar gods or a musician that you'd look on the side of the stage, or you'd met them somewhere or something and think, fuck, you know, that just happened, like?
Oh man, well, like I'm a massive Pantera fan, like huge Pantera fan, and like I can remember I think it was the Metal Hammer Awards, and like we were walking in, and there's like a queue and you have your pictures taken, and then like suddenly kind of behind us it was like Damage Plan. So it was like Dimebag was kind of like two bands behind us. I remember looking back and being like, oh my god, that's Dimebag Darrell, just being like, fucking hell, he's tiny, he's like really short. And then and like that wasn't my image of him at all. Like the man's a mountain, you know, he's a giant. But and then I can remember like we were walking in and we were like waiting to go into the area where you have to show your wristband and everything else, and somebody was tapping me on my shoulder, and I thought it was one of the boys, like doing the thing of like tap you on the shoulder, you turn around and they've gone to the other side. So I can remember turning around just being like, fuck off. And it was Dimebag Darrell. And he was absolutely battered. Like he was so wasted. And he was talking about how he's like basically asking me, how do I get in here? He was like, they're telling me I can't come in here because the bands were red and he had a bit of red ribbon or like cloth, like just cotton tied around his wrist. And I can remember me, Ryan, and Darren just being like to the security guard, we were like, you've got to let this guy in, because if you don't, like, he's definitely going to have won something tonight. You know?
Yeah.
And then just like, him just going in wasted, just being like, yeah. So not even playing on stage. That was like just an award ceremony. But that's like, I think that's the most starstruck I've ever been. Like, I can remember, like obviously playing with me was incredible. But like before we toured with them, because we had signed the Sanctuary, we had actually met quite a few of them.
Yeah,
kind of beforehand. Sorry, my dog is digging the sofa at the moment, if you can hear that in the background. Jess.
It's all right, mate. That's a running theme on you. There's been a few guests where their dogs make appearances, and that's brilliant.
But because we had signed the Sanctuary, we had like met quite a few with the guys in Maiden at the offices and sort of spoke to them. So when we kind of went on that tour, it was a bit like it wasn't so kind of like it wasn't being so starstruck, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because like we'd seen them in a different environment. But I don't know, with like players, like people who, I think the most kind of like floored I've been by watching like any like guitarist I've toured with is probably Brian, or like from Avenged, or Sinister Gates.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
He is phenomenal. Like, he's so good. I remember like we did a tour which was them headlining, Mike M as main support and us opening, and we played, but we played to like 20 people in Florida. Like,
Really?
kind of just like doing these like tiny little dive bars, hardly anybody turning up. And I can remember just watching him play and just being like, yeah, he's at a level I don't think I'll, like, no matter how much I practice, I'll never get to that level. He's ridiculous. And that was being starstruck by a peer. Do you know what I mean? Somebody who at the same time was kind of doing the same thing as what we were doing, but it was just like, he's just inhuman.
Flawless, I've heard. Just purely it's like is the way he's playing is just so at ease. That's what a couple of people have told me a similar story to him. So that's where like they've seen him even on a tour bus just shredding and stuff, and it's just like, what the fuck is that? And that's almost just like, it just, you know, it almost, you're fucking staring because you're like, did you just do that? And then he'll do it again, and it's just so fucking easy to him, like.
Yeah, totally. There's like I can remember it wasn't so much when he was playing, it was more when he was sound checking. It was just like it was just absurd. It's like you see loads of guitarists like kind of play like it now because they're influenced by him. Do you know what I mean?
Of course,
he's instantly recognizable as well. Like, you know, whenever you hear his playing, you instantly know it's an Avenged song.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Definitely got their own sound.
Oh, totally, man. I mean, that whole era, and it's mad to say that you just played a club yourself, My Chemical Romance, and them to like 30 people in Florida. That's just fucking
man.
surreal, like.
I can remember we did a show with Mike M just before they did the video for I'm Not Okay. It was in Tallahassee, I think. We were playing, and it was literally the smallest club, and like the sound was so bad. Our sound guy, like Sean at the time, the promoter, the promoter for the show was just like, nobody can get a good sound here. I'm gonna have to do your sound. So we were paying our sound engineer to not do our sound while somebody else was like basically the promoter of the show was doing it, because he was just like, this venue's terrible, it sounds awful. And I think they were like, there must have been, it's probably like 150 cap room and probably like 30 people in there.
Fucking hell.
And then by the time we finished that tour that we were on, because we left that run and kind of, I think we joined Story of the Year. And by the time we got to LA, which is obviously the other side of America, like Mike M were the biggest band on the planet. And it was just in like such a short period of time, we'd gone from playing with them to like 30 people to suddenly like, they were like literally the hottest band in the world.
Yeah, because it's similar to you guys, really, where, like I said, for us in Wales, there might have been something cooking up London and stuff, but like all of a sudden, bang, your videos were dropping and you guys exploded, and it was a complete scene. And then, same with My Chemical Romance. I remember that. It was like, I think it was like a video or something. We just lost him, but there a sec. 2 seconds, everybody. Kris will come back now. That's an amazing story, that is.
Oh, mate, Tallahassee in Florida, 30 people leaving a tour, joining the Story of the Year tour in LA. And then by the time they finished that tour, My Chem are one of the biggest bands in the world.
Well, if you look at all three bands, look at all three bands on that bill, to how many records they sold, to where they've played globally. It's just absolutely incredible. That's unreal to hear that, like, you know what I mean? I mean, fucking hell, what would a ticket cost you to see that lineup now? Like, do you know what I mean? It's
I know, Christ, I need to
that's
think.
unbelievable. That's unbelievable. Like I said, I've seen it
Well-
influence so many people as well. Like,
Well, he was the old sort of Taste of Chaos tour as well, wasn't he? Which Funeral headlined.
yeah,
Story of the Year were on there, Kill Switch. Oh, there he is, man. There he
yeah.
is.
Sorry, guys.
We were
No
just saying
idea.
that. We were just
Sorry,
saying that's an unreal story. The fact of, like, you know, you three bands on that lineup. You know, fucking hell, the amount of people who would buy a ticket, and frighteningly how much they would pay for a ticket to see those three names on a poster now. Like, you know, it's unreal, especially like the amount of records you've all sold, the amount of fucking hell, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a mad thing, isn't it? It's like kind of it's one of those things that I look back on and kind of particularly seeing what kind of Avenged and Mike M have gone on to do as well, and just like thinking back to those kind of like that run of dates that we done playing kind of like to basically no one, and like, you know, the people who were there were interested, but like it's, you know, and loved it, but just, yeah, it's nuts to think.
So how
Absolutely
long
nuts to think.
how long was that tour in terms of dates before
was-
you
it-
left that run of dates?
So it was only a short run, because I think, if I can remember, we had done Bamboozle Festival or Skate and Surf. They were both at Asbury Park in New Jersey. I can't remember which one it was, but we were basically going down the southeast, and it was just a run of dates that we could do together. So I think we did I think it was maybe like 10 or 12, and then we kind of all split off into our own kind of like into our like whatever tours we were going to join.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things that like the next time we went back to America, I can remember like Avenged had just done was it City of Evil, I think.
Yeah.
And it was just yeah, they were massive. And it was like, yeah, it was such a nuts thing to kind of to think that we did these little dive bars, you know, and then like suddenly the next time I saw Mike M in the States, they were like headlining a 15,000 capacity arena in LA. And I think but I think there was 6 months between it as well. You know?
Unreal.
You can't even buy a house in this country within 6 months now.
No.
Do you know what I mean? That really puts it into perspective. Do you know what I mean? You can't, can you? You know?
We were talking earlier, like I said, it's 20 years. It's coming up to the 20-year anniversary, which is incredible. And we said about the band disbanded in 2016. It was a time for you to recap and really kind of look at everything that you did. And then we were privileged. We were part of you did a charity show for Big Stu. That would have been 2019. Is that right?
Yeah, it was. It was October as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it's almost 2 years ago now.
Yeah, I mean, we were chuffed a bit individually and collectively. Just, it was an amazing cause. It was a sad cause, but it was great to see you guys as well. I mean, it was a really special moment, man. Was that awesome for the amount of time you guys have been apart to kind of get back? Or was it, you know, mixed feelings because of the event, or?
Yeah, it's a bit of both, I think. I can remember, like, you know, we all had, me and Ryan in particular had conversations, because we had kind of like kept in touch with Stu, and I remember being in work and Ryan messaging me because I hadn't seen his post saying that he had been given a terminal diagnosis. And I remember Ryan being like, you know, we've got to do something for her. And it was just like speaking to the boys. Everyone agreed. We were all shitting ourselves about playing the show, because, you know, we kind of, when we finished Funeral, the intention was that we had finished it. It was done. We had no intention of playing any more shows. We had no intention of kind of resurrecting the band in any way, or like for anything in particular. It was just, and you know, I can remember kind of putting it to the boys, like saying, look, you know, if the best thing we can do is to make a difference and be to play some shows. And obviously everyone agreed. And it was that thing then of talking about how do we go about the lineup, because obviously we've had several different lineups with the band. And obviously it was just like, look, you know, Darren's got to do it, Ryan's got to do it, Gav and Rich have to be there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but it'd been, I think there was that slightly kind of bittersweet, slightly melancholy kind of moment where, you know, you walk into a room and you see people that, like, you know, I love the boys in my band, like you know what that's like, right? Your family.
Yeah.
And sort of like having not seen Darren and Ryan in particular for so long, you know, I hadn't seen Matt since the last show, because obviously he lives in Germany and everything. It was kind of, there was a moment of walking into the room and seeing everyone and just being this, like, you know, such an overwhelming kind of thing to see people you care so much about, but the kind of, you know, at the same time doing it because the reason you're there is because of something so sad.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. But yeah, the shows were, I don't think any of us actually anticipated them being kind of, well, them going the way they did. I'd probably say that, like, those 3 shows for the entire time that I've been in Funeral, they are my favourite 3 shows we've ever played.
Well, like I said, we were honoured because we were there. We were there for the Shepherd's Bush, which was just like, it was just amazing, man. It was like, it was watching your buddies on. We would take it back 360 to like the jam nights, and if you take the essence from that of watching your friends performing and enjoying it, you know what I mean? The smiles, the arm around each other. It was just so, it was pure and emotional. I think all of us said that in the Crows when we left and we were driving home and stuff. We were like, fuck, that was an emotional show, like, you know. And I mean, the good thing is, I think a topic came up which we were like, do you reckon they'll do any more? And it was like, nah, they're done. And like some of us had spoken to Ryan, or we'd spoken to you, or whatever. No, I was only for this. And you know, that's the, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's like, the download thing was announced. It was like, oh, wicked, fuck, they're playing download. And then the tour, which we were like, oh, this is amazing. And then fucking COVID happened to the world, which was like, shit. And you know, we're same with any band who had plans, and the momentum starting to build, and the fans are buying the tickets, which was incredible. Everything kind of halted, and then it started coming back, and you had your download pilots and that. And then what I loved, which I think we've got a clip which we're going to run now, is you guys, which I seen the other week, you were asked to perform a special guest on Slam Dunk, which just looked incredible. Let's have a look at this video. Is it playing? Hang on. I love
it's like Wayne's World, isn't it? Like Wayne's World.
Incredible.
Yeah, that was, wow.
Incredible.
Kris, how was your neck the morning after that?
So, well, I felt like I'd been in a car crash, but I'd actually got ejected from the back of a golf cart as well at the end of the show. So, because obviously the band were all traveling down to London. I was obviously heading back to Wales. I was heading back to London. So I went to the production office, got a lift because the train station is right by Hatfield. And I jumped in the back seats of the golf buggies.
Oh, yeah.
So not the ones facing the driver, the ones facing out.
Yeah.
And he took this like really slow turn coming like literally. This has nothing to do with the show, but it's why I felt so bad the day after, I think.
All right.
But he took this just reversed out really slowly, and then he just literally slammed his foot down and threw me out the back of the golf cart.
Gone like.
So I had all my bags on me, all my luggage, and I was like running after him. Stop! Yeah. So I had hell of a bang over. It was definitely felt my age like after those two shows.
How did it feel as well, man? Because that would have been your first one, obviously, since was that the first gig since the Stew gig, or?
Yeah, totally. It was I don't know, it's weird because with festivals, there's like, if you do your own shows, that everybody in the room generally like they're there because they like your band. When you're doing a festival, it's different because you don't know how many people like you, how many people don't care for you or anything else. And also the fact that we had like so few days to rehearse for it.
Yeah.
Because obviously we're like trying to tie her in with everything that everybody's got going on in their lives now, but also with the Matt flying over and COVID restrictions and everything else that like Matt had to do. So we ended up doing like 3 days rehearsals, which kind of like turned into 2.5. So before the first show in Leeds, I was absolutely crapping myself. It was just like, I didn't feel confident going on. And then I just remember walking out and like literally playing probably the first like 16 seconds of Rookie of the Year and just being, it just felt comfortable. And like the response of the crowd was insane. They were so loud. They were louder than what we were, which is nuts. When you're playing and you can physically hear an audience above what you were playing, and you were playing at an incredibly loud volume. It was mind blowing, absolutely mind blowing.
That's the thing, man. It's such a. I think they've been busting for it, the same as musicians been dying to get back and jam. If you've missed that moment, or we witnessed that between the download and whether it be a big gig or a small gig, whatever the environment has been, the crowd are just so up for it, which is amazing. Music fans are absolutely loving. And I seen the videos of Slam Dunk. I was just like, oh my God, they're incredible.
Yeah, it's like, but I watched Loathe, I watched Holding Absence, I watched While She Sleeps, and yeah, they were like every band. The response was incredible. Do you know what I mean? I just think I think people have definitely. There we are, the old back to back with me.
Yeah, boy.
It's a classic.
There's the boys.
Yeah, there's the boys, man.
There we are. I haven't aged a day. Look at us. But it was. I just think that like music, and particularly live music, has been massively missed, hasn't it?
Immensely, man. I mean, like I said, our first one back properly was the download, and that was just like,
insane.
Funny enough, I'm glad you said that, because I had the same vibe as you. The first, like, going into the song, I was just like, fuck. I'm fucking nervous by you, and I've never been nervous, but but then when you hear the crowd sing back and you see the reaction, it was just like, right, game on. And then you're in the moment, which is where every one of us want to be. Like, you don't want to be looking at it, don't want to be moaning about it. You want to be in that moment. And it was just fantastic. And that's what I was curious with that, especially like, you just been a dad, and then all of a sudden now you're back out on the fucking stage, and it's there.
Yeah, it's well, it's definitely kind of. I came home and then like the following day is my day that kind of I look after my son, so I have 2 days off in the week. You know, my wife has him. We're together, but like the way we split our weeks up is that he has like 2 days in nursery. So it was like the day after the shows was my day to have him. So it's kind of I went from doing that straight back to just being a dad, you know, which was like, yeah, it was amazing.
With a bad
it was
neck.
like, oh yeah,
with a bad
really
neck.
bad neck. Yeah. Oh God! Oh, I can't move.
and I look at that photo over there, and like you all look dashing. Fair play to you, and obviously the tour bus is in the background, which is immense. And that reminds me of a story I've been told about you, which I've got to bring up on CrowCast, and you're your side of it. You had an amazing birthday, didn't you, with Funeral for a Friend many years ago?
Yeah, it wasn't an important one. It was my 30th, so you know, not a big deal. Like
I weren't told that.
Yes, like it's you know, it was just a small one, you know, not a real marker in time or anything. Yeah, we bastards.
So what happened then?
So I can't remember the reason, but we were doing a tour with the Blackout, and we were doing a bus share with the guys, and we'd been on tour for Christ, it must have been about 6 weeks at this point, and I can't remember the exact reason, but the last 2 days of the tour got cancelled, and I was like, oh, that kind of okay, like we're gonna go home early, and I was like, okay, that's cool. I'm knackered. I'm like wherever. I want to go home. So we're all for this. I can't remember for what reason, but we had to go into Paris because we didn't play Paris, but we had to go into Paris. So it was to do with the driver's hours. So we went into Paris. We all kind of spent a couple of hours going around, kind of around the city, had a bit to eat, wherever. All got back on the bus to leave, and then we literally just stop at a service station just outside of Paris, so that the driver can refuel. We all get off the bus, and we all go and kind of like use the toilet, get some snacks, get some bits and bobs. And I'm kind of out of the toilet, and all I can see is the bus driving off. And I'm just like, I was like, there's a boys, man, taking the piss. It's my birthday, pretending to leave without me, yeah, right though. And then I actually just I didn't bother running after them because I thought, oh, they're going to stop now and all jump out and be like, yeah, whatever. And they didn't. They just turned onto the motorway and just fucked off. So, I was like ringing our tour manager, but he had gone to bed. And so he didn't pick up. I tried ringing Gav, I tried ringing Ryan, I tried ringing all the boys. Nobody bothered answering their phones because I think they were all just sat in the back of the lounge watching a film or having a drink, listening to music, whatever. And I'm literally at the service station on my own. I just turned 30. And I'm like, right, well, at least I got my card on me. So I got some money with me. So I'm like, right, I'm going to buy a beer. And I'm going to buy Monster Munch, which are the European Monster Munch. The little ghost faces, they look like Pac-Man characters. Yeah. So I got a pack of those, the salted ones, and some Jupiler or whatever kind of beer I've got.
Fuck yeah.
I just sat there drinking. I'm thinking, right, one of them will call me back. And it was about 3.5 hours went by, and literally I was still hadn't heard from anyone. And it was when they got to Calais.
They
actually got to Calais, and they when Rich went to check that I was in my bunk, our tour manager at the time saw that I wasn't, and then called me, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm still at the service station in Paris." So I had to wait another 3 hours or so for him to drive all the way back to come and get me, and I was like. I was like,
I bet you were livid.
No, I had a wonderful time. I had beer and I had salted Monster Munch. I was fine. It's taken me a decade to get over it, but that was that's probably not like how I would have wanted to spend my 30th. Stranded on my own in a service station where
services.
I think our sources said at the time it was the fact of you came up in a conversation or they needed to ask you something, and they were like, "Anyone seen Chris? Oh, he's in his bunk." And then they went to check on you, and you weren't there, and they were like, "Oh shit."
No, bollocks! They weren't even there. They got to Cali. They got to where they were going, and it was Rich was checking that we were all on board, ready for the morning when he realised I weren't there.
Oh dear God!
So,
shit, hell.
So literally, mate, everybody just like scarpered and hid when I got back on that bus. They were like
unbelievable,
all hiding in their bunks. Even Sean of all people, Sean Smith was hiding.
Oh, fucking brilliant. I love her. It's a memory. I mean, you can look back and laugh now. At the time, fucking hell. Can I look back and laugh? Wow.
I'm slight. Yeah. Oh, there's nothing that says, you know your friends when they don't notice you're missing and it's your birthday.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's fucking brilliant, mate. Thank you so much for coming on tonight, Chris. Honestly, man.
It's a pleasure, man.
Thank you, buddy.
No, I really ask because we haven't seen you for a long time. And when we do, sometimes it's passing, which I think everybody we seem to be bumping into now, we spend a lot more time with and appreciate that as well. Like, so definitely looking forward to that with you as well, mate.
Definitely, man. That's awesome. It's been it's been good to catch up with you boys.
Definitely.
You're doing well as well.
Yeah, it's fingers crossed. Everything seems to be going great, and now everything's picking up a bit more. We're back on that track of where you were. You're starting to see that 2-year calendar, which I never thought I'd say is an absolutely amazing thing. It's amazing to see that 2-year calendar. So it's great, man. And like I said, we're up your neck of the woods a lot more now when we lied. I got to be careful because as I start to speak, you have to remember that what you're saying is fucking going out. So it's that whole I won't give that away. But we will see you soon. And,
just message me,
definitely. And send me that photo of your brother as well. I'm counting on that.
Oh yeah, I'll have to dig that out for you. He'll love that.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. But yeah, thank you so much for spending time with us. I'm going to see you soon.
All the best.
You're welcome, guys. All the best. Nice one. Cheers, dude.
Take care.
Guys.
Cheers, Chris. Take care.
Bye.
That was amazing. Before I bring in the boys as well, Funeral for a Friend are on tour in January 2022. Look at that. Well, there's not many dates left that you can buy a ticket for. Thursday, the 20th of January, the O2 Academy in Bristol. Tuesday, the 18th in Leeds, and Friday, the 21st in Bournemouth. And that's it. But obviously, keep an eye on the Funeral for a Friend socials, because if any tickets become available, that's the first place that you'll hear about it. And as well, the guys have got a brand new bundle out as well. There's a clear vinyl box set and 2 LP black vinyl reissues as well, which is amazing. So for any collector, which I know a few of my friends were over the moon when they seen that was released, that is available as well on pre-order. So they've got the shows coming up in January, and go and swag yourself one of them before you can't. And then it's too late. And then you're looking around record stores and, unbelievable. Should we get the boys in?
Come on, then.
Let's get the boys in. There's Dave and there's Shiner Boy.
See that, Dave?
Yeah, I know. Do it on purpose.
Aye. No rubbing that under the desk now.
Do you enjoy that, boys?
Yeah. I love Chris, man. He's hilarious. Fucking good guitarist as well. Such a good guitarist. He's such a funny guy.
Incredible guitarist. And I mean, the thing is, I could have spent genuinely another hour. But I didn't want to keep him too long, especially with the baby and everything like that. And yeah, it was just a case of I didn't want to skip over too much because what they've achieved is immense. But it was nice. There's a few stories on there that I hadn't heard. And like you said, an incredible guitarist, Dave.
Yeah, man.
He's one of them. doesn't get the credit for his guitar playing.
Yeah.
It's, it's because he's not, the Joe Satriani's of the world.
Credit and recognition.
Yeah.
That's what you mean.
Yeah. But just try playing what he plays and you're like, oh, okay, he can play.
Yeah. Try playing it, let alone writing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the guy can
play backwards.
Yeah, and it was a beautiful compliment towards Darren as well, because he said, I come up with all of these, which they are. A lot of them are so many melodic hooks and stuff like that. And he just said he always compliments it by finding the space to play in, and I imagine you two get that down there. You have to, somebody comes up with something, or if you're playing one thing, your mind is racing to find something to complement it, but not try and outdo it, because you know what I mean? So that's a nice balance, and that was a nice compliment he paid him there. So.
Yeah,
there's nothing worse than two guitarists trying to outdo each other in the same band, is there? You can imagine.
We're right there, dude.
Compliment each other.
Yeah, well, no, you have got busy bands, and obviously they both take separate sections and blah, 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 and all of that. But it's just nice that, like Kris said, through all the madness, or it'll bring something to the table. They work really well off each other in that respect, so. Yeah. And yet again, amazing to see that he was buzzing to be back out on the road, which is what you want, so especially going from that period of like 2016 of right, that's it, and then 2019, like I said, we were all there where we've seen it, and we were speculating whether there would be more, and now you can tell that the guys are really embracing and enjoying the moment, so I love that.
They'll all be back full time before you know it. You watch.
Yeah, well, it is what it is, isn't it? We all know that. You get that reaction from a crowd. There'll always be a fan base. They've made their mark, which is exceptional.
They got a hell of a legacy, man, and I think they proved that, being able to come out and do another tour, regardless to whether they're gonna keep doing it or not. It's just like Ron said, they made their mark in time, haven't they? They
were. They made their mark, Lloyd, when you look at those dates. I mean, and they've added a couple more, but they just through demand, so.
And that's just in this country.
Insane, isn't it? So, no, it was a credit and a real pleasure to sit down with Kris as well. So, and that was lush, like I said. It could have been another 2-part there, because I know there was plenty more stories and stuff like that. It was good to hear his side of the bus story as well, wasn't it? So,
yeah,
I mean, so many versions of that from different people, and it's like I haven't actually never heard it from Chris's mouth before.
Exactly. So what we'll have to do now? We'll have to ask Sean. Now I know Sean was in on it. So we've had other sources' opinions. So I'll have to ask Sean his story on it. So you're starting to go around the bus, and So
the truth will out.
Tamping.
Yeah.
If that happened to me, I would just. I mean, in France, you can get a beer in a service stop, but you can't in the UK. I'd be like, I just get to have a beer and just.
Well, it's funny that, Dave, because you always seem to get a beer in the services in the UK.
Actually, you are right. You can, you can buy, Marks and Spencers. They usually have a nice selection of craft beers, don't they?
Yeah.
But boys, feel free if you want to drop me off at the service stations one time.
In that case, we're dropping him off a Mega.
Yeah.
With his fuck all.
Love it. How are you doing, boys? You all right, Dave? How have you been settling home?
Fine, but fine. On the old guitar, writing some music and just getting into, in album mode. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I touched on the whole detox earlier.
Yeah, I'm doing the old Stoptober, whatever that is called. I didn't think it'd last this long. It's only been 5 days, but I have. So.
Quick question off Emma, Shiner. How was your birthday celebration? Because obviously we didn't see you last week.
When was that, Shine?
No idea. My birthday? What you want, bud?
How have you been doing, bud? You all right?
Yeah, you're older, but
yeah,
it was your birthday.
You're going backwards, and you shine like Benjamin.
Right, Devon, 20.
Yeah, working your way backwards.
Move on, boys. Move on.
Yeah, well, speaking of birthdays, we've got some birthdays and shout-outs, boys. So first one's off Dan Worrell. Hi, could I please request a birthday shout-out for my mum, Claire Kidd? She watches every week and has been to a 10 of your gigs, including the Derby and Sheffield gigs in November. Oh. Her birthday is Wednesday, 6th of October. Please wish her happy birthday from Dan, Terry, and her 4 grandchildren, Jack, Alfie, Grace, and Joshua. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Also, it was a massive delay then. Also, birthdays today. Elena Henderson, Tina Croft, Joe Morgan, Heather Dawn, Ryan Vasey, and Chris Nill. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday! Jonathan Winter. Hey, can I ask for a shout out tonight on CrowCast for myself and Trish? We have been married now for 22 years on Friday. Despite being on break in Cornwall, we will be tuning into CrowCast tonight. Not missed one yet. Love to the Crow families. Cheers, John. Happy anniversary, John and Trish.
Happy anniversary.
Congratulations.
That's lovely. And that is the birthdays and the shout outs.
Nice.
What's the next lyric? It's lyric time. What's the next line? What's the next line? What's the next line?
Now then.
Oh,
Start time of the
internet.
Right. For this week's What's the Next Line? The prize is a pay it forward from the lovely Crow family member.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So basically, it's a choice of a Crow family hoodie or a Crow jumper because, it's getting a bit colder out there. So, with that in mind. And the lyric is as follows. Because when I look at myself, go!
And while we wait for the answer for that, let's check out a bit of Crow Radio.
The best music all day long. Crow Radio. Available now via Those Damn Crows Spotify page. Don't forget to click the green heart.
All right, then. This week's Crow Radio, we've taken a play on words on Funeral for a Friend. We put a playlist together based on that, okay? So let me just get that up for you all. Don't share this window, David. It's a bit dodgy.
Full screen, Dave.
There he is. There he is, boy.
So first we have Roses for the Dead by Funeral for a Friend. Next we have Long Time Dead by Us. Next we have I'll Sleep When I'm Dead.
Good friends.
Female, isn't it? Bon Jovi. Then we have Sleep When You're Dead, The Blackout. Then we have Songs When You're Dead, Queens of the Stone Age. Death on Two Legs, Queen. Death to All But Metal, Steel Panther. Funeral for a Friend, which I don't know if anyone realised that the band is named after the Elton John song, because Ryan Richards apparently is a real big Elton John fan and he dresses like him sometimes.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
I'm not joking. Those facts will be verified. I Just Died in Your Arms, Cutting Crew. The Kill, 30 Seconds to Mars, Kill by Death, Motorhead, Afterlife, Holding Absence, Dying in Your Arms, Trivium, Don't Fear the Reaper, Blue Oyster Cult, Until the Day I Die, Story of the Year, Only the Good Die Young, Billy Joel, Fade to Black, Metallica, Sound of Silence, Simon and Garfunkel, Angel by Theory of a Dead Man. So there we have it.
So yeah, all in the play of words of Funeral for a Friend, which was our guest tonight. Kris Coombs-Roberts, which will be available this Friday on the audio version of CrowCast as well on iTunes, Spotify, and all your Audible platforms. Have we got a winner, Lloyd?
Yes, we do have a winner, Ronno.
That feels weird saying that after 80 episodes.
I know. It feels weird taking this part, man. You know what I mean? Right. So, don't ask me to sing. So
I think you should. I think you should, boys. You should make it his own segment. And sing. And
Oh,
sing.
my dog's
I think you
howling.
should sing the answer.
Sing. Oh yeah, we fucking go.
So the
Right.
answer is
The answer is from the song "Sick of Me," and the lyric is, "I see the floodgates open," and the winner is Sam Hatt.
Hooray!
Congratulations,
Well
Sam.
done,
Get in
Sam.
touch, dude. Get in touch and send us your address, and we'll get our sent out to you.
Well done, Sam.
Well done, bro.
Sorry, no, you're rolling it.
Dogs like reggae music.
Dag-
Fuck off.
No, no.
Oh, mate, I can't wait till tomorrow morning. I'm going to put Bob Marley on for Max.
They like reggae music. So research has shown that dogs appreciate music, right? They appreciate music.
Yeah.
And they have their own music tastes. And it turns out reggae tends to be a firm favourite.
Oh, Ronnie's face.
Oh, fuck. Catherine Bedison,
Sorry.
everyone likes reggae music.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, I know what I'll be doing with Indy now tomorrow. Bit of reggae, you know.
Oh, Donna
No
Morgan reckons it's
woman will
true.
cry.
Dog Marley. Well done, Mike. Oh, Dog Marley.
Oh.
That's an incredible name for your dog, isn't it?
And there's a little picture on my phone of a dog wearing a Rasta hat. That's
Oh,
it.
That's it. Indy will be having one of them now.
Oh, the picture is better than the fact. Go on, read that out then, Dave.
Yeah. Research has shown that dogs appreciate music and have their own individual preferences. While tastes can vary dog to dog, it turns out reggae is a firm favourite in the canine world. I tend to leave classic FM on for Indy. She's a classy bird. See,
Do you know what?
Right.
Elizabeth has just come up with an amazing idea, right? So we haven't done this for a while. We used to ask you to do follow-ups. Do you remember that? Like, especially with you did the crickets, weren't it? And you had to count the crickets.
Yeah.
So I think Elizabeth is right here. I want to see you tomorrow film Indy's response, and it has to be the legitimate reaction, and keep that, and we'll play it on next week's CrowCast.
Absolutely. I'm up for that.
Is that
I
a
can't
deal?
wait for this.
There we go.
Wow.
Landscape as well now. Turn that camera that way. Remember the score? That way. And I want to see the whole thing, the whole build up to it for when you press play. And then I want at least 10, 15 seconds looking at Indy's reaction to you playing reggae.
Can we get a few different reggae songs as well? So it's not just one that she might like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or a
Well,
few
not one that she might like.
Yeah, here we are.
A few different ones.
Yeah, get like I don't know, now does reggae or
let's get a bit of Aswad on there.
Yeah.
Aswad.
What
Let's
did you say? Aswad.
Aswad, isn't it? Don't turn around. Get a bit of that poppy reggae. Gotta get it all in there. Come on,
maybe
mate,
a bit of Peter Tosh. And then
Yeah.
we'll try somewhere in the modern shit with some drum and bass beats on it,
Yeah. Hey, as Ian says, no woman, no growl.
No,
Brilliant.
yeah, I'm up for that. Like, it combines my two favorite things, music and dogs. So what's not to like?
Yeah, Jack said Cat likes classic FM.
Yeah, my end was listening to classic FM. Not by choice, but
Jackie's just said 96 degrees in the shade. I don't know whether that's a reggae song or I've just clicked on somebody's conversation.
Someone's on holiday.
It does sound like a reggae, doesn't it? You know.
God, that's warm, isn't it?
96
warm,
degrees in the shade. Bop, 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 bop. Something like that, innit? With the steel companion, like. Yeah. Yes, reggae. Thank you, Jackie. I didn't know whether I literally just clicked on a conversation or whether that was a track.
I've never been a massive reggae fan. I mean, I love Bob Marley.
I don't know. Whenever you're jamming, you always turn any song into reggae.
Yeah, but that's just my sense of humor. It. But it'd be worth giving it a go.
Right, here we go then. 10 seconds of a bit of Bob Marley.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. Then 10 seconds of a bit of Shaggy.
Yeah, right.
And then, if there's no reaction, a little bit of death metal, just to see.
Okay. Yeah.
Never know.
Yeah.
Never know.
At the gates or something, is it?
Whatever floats your boat. Ask Indy. Ask Indy.
Yeah.
I want it all on camera.
Woof if you want it louder.
Woof if you want it louder. Exactly.
Like a DJ like that. Indy's the audience, like.
And you've got to turn your into a bit of a mullet as well, all right?
Get your whistles out that you can't hear because they're dog whistles.
If only we had the time. Well, you might have the time. If you don't film it tomorrow, because we don't have to put this up till next Tuesday, you should get Indy that hat. I want to see full on create the moment. Like,
that would be hard trying to get a hat on it. I'll give it a go though.
Smashing, great. Did you know? But for anybody who has just tuned in, or if you could let everybody know on the fan page, you get it exclusively on here. Our Halloween shirts are available for pre-order. Part of our Halloween special, which will be episode 83. Did I say that? I hope I'm right. And I think I've got it right. So that'll be episode 83. We're only 80 now. So it'll be episode 83 Halloween special. And there's our t-shirts to commemorate it. We do like those shirts, don't we, boys?
Oh,
I love them. Awesome.
Brilliant, man.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, one-liner, shiner.
Honestly, that's joyous size. I don't get to see that photo. Yes. Well done, Internet. It's 80 weeks I've waited.
What did it glitch?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, I've seen it. I did. Oh, do it again.
I saw it, yeah.
Oh, I did. Do it again.
I can't. Well, that's unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Fucking thing.
Unreal.
Fucking yeah. Oh, charm. I thought it completely glitched. All right, then. Here we go. Right. You are only confined by the walls you build yourself. And there's that photo. There we are. People have nightmares looking at that photo. Where's Halloween, isn't it?
Halloween special in a couple of weeks. Yeah, thank you very much to Kris Coombs-Roberts, Funeral for a Friend. They're out on tour in January. They've got pre-orders available on their new vinyls. We will be back next week for episode 81. It's another incredible guest. Keep an eye on the socials this week and it'll all be announced. Until then, be safe. Nostar.
I'm not giving up. I'm not